Hi everybody and welcome back to the Nutt Sewing Machine's YouTube channel. We're back in our Birmingham store and we're going to be taking a look at the Juki MCS 1800 cover stitch machine. So this is the newest model from the Juki cover stitch range. There was the 1500 before as well, but this one now is coming with full LED lighting and also an additional seam guide that is included within the box. And it feels lovely. It's really smooth to use. So cover stitching has become way more popular recently with people using loads of different stretch fabrics in their dressmaking. So this is what it's for, really ideal for these kind of really stretchy materials for hemming on sleeves, doing the necklines, and also like the hems around the bottoms as well. So it's great for finishing off those projects with a really professional finish. We're going to take a little tour of the machine. So cover stitches are fairly straightforward. You've got 3 needles and then 1 chain looper underneath. We've got our needle tensions here, so we can adjust those independently, and we've also got a stitch length and differential feed. So the differential feed is the same as you would use on an overlocker, where you're actually going to be changing the way that the feed dogs feed in order to compensate for the stretchiness of the materials, but we'll take a look at that when we run it as well. We've got our 4 threads at the back, and so we're going to take a quick look at how these actually thread up. I'm going to start with the chain looper, so we're going to come around the other side to take a look, because this is the complicated one to get our heads around. So yeah. So the chain looper we're going to do first of all is inside the side cover here. So if we open this up right away, we can then see the inner workings here, and it does look a little bit complicated, so we're going to go through it step by step, because once you know how to do this bit, it's actually really straightforward. So we've got our chain looper thread here. We're actually using a bulky nylon for this, gives a really good finish on stretch materials, and you see up here it's got a purple little notch on top of the thread guide. So we're going to follow, this is the purple thread path, we're going to follow everything that's got a purple bit on. So it actually comes down the back of the machine, and there is another guide just there, and then it follows into this channel that's actually in the back of the case of the machine, round to the inside. So this then goes into this little guide there and around the bottom, and that's like a subtension unit that you can also plus and minus if you do need to adjust the chain looper tension. Then go through the channel there, and everything that's purple, so not everything does have a purple notch on it, but most bits do, so it's just a case of you've got these 2 displays as well at the top. So this is showing like what the view looks like on the top, and this is showing what the view looks like on the side. So once I'm on that bit now, I'm now going to zigzag across. So I'm going to go, around here, which then goes into that slit there. This is very hard to do with the camera. There we are. And then into the guide here, so we can see that that green thread is following that thread path. And now we're at this point here. We need to get our chain looper available here. I'm just going to open this door so we've got a bit more light, and if I turn the wheel towards us so that this chain looper is then as far over to this side as possible, this then needs to be fed through here, thread guide. And then to make it easy for us to thread this bit, if you squeeze down there, that'll actually release the chain looper down a little bit more. And then this thread comes from behind and runs along this channel into the eye there. This is a bit difficult with this thread. Let me just get a fresh end. There we are. Tweezers always help, but you do get provided with all of these. So now that's running into that channel there, so we just need to flick that back up into position, and this thread can just kind of hang around at the bottom, just make sure it's not in the way, and that's our lower looper, chain looper even, threaded up. So I'm just going to raise my needles out of the needle area there now, so that we can thread these, because these are much more straightforward. We can even close these doors. So now we've got all closed up, we've done the chain looper, we're now going to do the needle threads. So these again are colour coded, so we've got this dark blue for the right hand needle, green for the centre and yellow for the left. So we're literally just following these thread paths, and if you're used to threading an overlocker, which is obviously used for doing the seams on stretch material, this should be no problem really. But let's just take a closer look. So bringing the thread up from there and then down into the first thread guide, so it kind of snaps into there, and then it actually goes over the top again and snaps in the once to create this kind of little tensioning loop around there. Into the tension guide, which is underneath, and then there's a little, so it slots in between there, and then there's a little bit of a notch there that it sits in. And you might just need to tug these in, but yeah, that's now got its tension on. Lovely. Then going to go underneath the guide there, following the blue, up and over, because there's the blue mark there, and another blue mark there, and then this is for the right hand needle. And so we've got 3 independent thread guides for each of the needle threads. Now you should technically thread with the foot up, because that would then open up the tension guides, the tensioners. But to thread the needles, it's really useful to have it down so that you can actually get to them, because that is as high as the needles go. And then it is just a manual threading, which works best with the tweezers. So that's that one. Then we'll do our centre. This is exactly the same process. This is following a very similar path to the blue. That one does not want to go in for some reason. Let's just trim the end off. There we go. And then finally, ooh, that seems a bit stuck. There we go. You always want a nice smooth flow, so do check if it does feel any resistance. Just make sure that it is all flowing nice and freely. That was just caught around the bottom. Our left hand needle. So this guide actually goes underneath that one and then up to the top there, so it's following that zigzag. Needles on here are just standard needles, they're not a specific type, so that's really easy to remember. You just need it, so we've got size 80s in here at the moment, a universal size 80. That's that one. So with your needle threads, you can just leave them, I just normally trim them down to just maybe 4 inches. And if we just leave them kind of at the back there, once we start stitching, they'll just run along the top of the material and they'll easily be able to actually be loosened out from that. So yeah, let's take a look at how it stitches. So here we've got some of that really super stretchy jersey viscose material. So with any cover stitch you actually have to start on the fabric, and obviously normally you'd be stitching in around, but we're just going to do a few sample stitches on here. So we're going to just lower our foot, and our top threads are still on top there. So we'll just run these. I'll show you how these threads kind of sit on top. And then at the end as well, because it doesn't chain off like an overlocker. But you can see the threads at the beginning, they're just totally free and can just be trimmed down when you're ready. But to finish off, we're just going to put our needles in the highest position, so by turning the wheel towards us, just doing an extra stitch there, but make sure the needles are up all the way. Going to then raise the presser foot and use the tweezers, which you do get with the machine, to pull the threads gently towards you. I'm just going to snip these off, snip the loop, and then pull the material away from the back. And what's actually happened is the lower looper thread, because it was caught around the top needle threads, has tucked them through to the back. So you can just take that out and everything's nice and neat at the back, and you can even tie those together to finish them off. But there we've got our row of triple cover stitching. It's in white on the blue, it's kind of embedded a little bit. But on the back we have got the bulky nylon in the green, so we can really see the stitch there, and it's super, super stretchy. So this is on the triple needle. We can then remove one of the needles, or even two of them, to do just a chain stitch. So if you wanted a narrower cover stitching, it would just be a case of removing the right or the left hand needle, keeping the centre one in position, and then we could get a much narrower stitch. It does actually say inside the cover here that if you do just want to do chain stitching, that it is the left hand needle that you keep in, so just bear that in mind. But yeah, these are all the stitch options that you can do. So if we take out the right hand needle, and we'll have a look at the narrow stitch. So we've just removed the needle, and we're going to do the 2-thread narrow hem version now, using the same kind of technique. So we've just got the 2 needles in play at the moment, so we've actually fully removed the thread as well, not just unthreaded the needle, but removed the needle itself. This machine can go quite speedy, it's nice, I really like that. So again, I'm just going to turn the wheel so that the needles are all the way up. Raise the foot, and let's get those threads again. Oh, sorry. And there's my scissors. Give that a trim. And let's see if we can get it on camera this time, because it happens so quickly. So pulling that away, there we go, they're just tucked away in there. So it's a really easy way to finish off. So that's what the narrow cover stitch looks like. Really good for like lingerie, baby items even, and keep having that bulky nylon in the back gives it increased stretch as well. So for this kind of fabric, we've actually did change the differential feed here to 1.5 because of its super stretch, because that really does affect the quality of the stitch as well at times. So if in doubt, it normally is the differential feed that needs to be adjusted. But let's just whiz it through on some of this really more sturdier lycra. Let's see what kind of finish we get on here with that kind of stitch. And then we can take a look at the chain stitch as well. See a bit more stitch definition on this fabric as well, which is quite nice. So there's our stitch. So I thought we might have to change it on that, but apparently not. I don't think I've cut it very square, that's why it's gone a bit wavy at the end. But you can see it's much better stitch definition on there. So normally the thicker the fabric, similar to what you do with sewing, the increase your stitch length accordingly, and then just have a mess around with the differential feed. It's very rare that you have to change the tension on these. It's much more to do with the stitch length and the differential feed than it is going to be with the actual tensions themselves. So we'll just try a chain stitch as well. So it did say for the chain stitch to just keep the left hand needle in. So if we remove the centre needle now, it's just like an Allen key tool, and this is supplied with your machine. It might not have a red handle, this is one of our generic ones, but you certainly do get this Allen key tool supplied with the model. So it's just unscrew there, and that just gently drops out. And again, we just have to remove the thread completely. With the foot up, it should pull through very easily. And then let's have a look at the chain stitch. So this can be used on all sorts of materials really. Some people even used it for basting toiles together or for fitting, because when you pull the back chain stitch, it actually does come undone really easily. So this is going to give the appearance of just a single needle straight stitch. So it just looks like a straight stitch, and then on the back it's that lovely chain. So you'll probably see that on denim and really heavy duty wear as well, so because it's a very, very super strong seam. Another great feature of this model is the bi-level foot that it comes with as standard, really. So this is, but it's dual bi-level foot. So if you are working on different levels, then it's got that on both sides. These levers move in order to be able to compensate for the height and improve your feeding as well. So that's really kind of everything, most things about this machine. There is also a foot pressure dial, but it's, again, just with the thicknesses of materials, if you are doing very heavy duty things, then you may need to increase the foot pressure. But overall, pretty straightforward machine, but giving a really lovely finish and professional finish to your kind of stretch garments especially. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this quick run through of this is the Juki MCS 1800 Kiri Cov, whatever that, I think it's standing for cover stitch. Yes, if you enjoyed this, then give us a thumbs up, and if you've got any other questions that you're looking for about this model or want to discuss it further, give us a call or ask in the comments below, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.